Welcome back to another Mayor's Update. Here we
are. You know, it's 6:30 on Wednesdays, and that's Mayor's Update. We have no place else to be or nothing else to do. We have to share with the city of St. Thomas all of the unique things that are going on or coming up.
And it is a busy time.
Holy
I've been working on those
July.
videos. We teased about them last week, and now you can see on the EDC website.
We're up to 3 plus.
Plus, there's a 360 virtual tour, so you can click around the site and see what's been happening where on the site.
It's really starting to really share great deals of information. So why don't we start with that one? Why don't we talk about From the Beehive? That's where the films are coming from, and we're making Mike a star.
That's right.
So
Mike Kirkley.
Really good. He's been stopped on the street now for autographs because he's the voice of what's going on at the mega site. And Grayden's great work of filming all of the access and all of the information there. But if you haven't had a chance to watch the 2 that were released this week, they're all about roads. What will we do on certain highways? What will we do with Highbury and South Edgeware? Please take a look, because we're still in public comment on each of those. And that's the reason for putting them out now, is that you can still, as a citizen of St. Thomas or nearby, give your input on what we're suggesting or what the MTO is suggesting from a roadway point of view. So we can have a whole show when we're not doing a show one week. We'll just show the films.
We'll just do all the films. Absolutely.
Right. You can leave comments and we'll come back to you after. Right? but this week we have lots of other stuff. So we didn't want to fake it by just running movies all the time. You remember going to school?
Yeah.
And you loved it when the teacher brought the projector into the classroom. You knew you were having a slack day. We're going to watch a movie of some sort.
I don't know if you ever got to see the one with like the little canoe. I think it was like a little man in a canoe, and it would like travel through Canada through the ice flow. Yeah. And they had the project. It was like a 16
later
mil.
on became a prime minister. No, I'm just kidding.
What else you got?
Sorry. We're having fun today. It's a beautiful sunny day and
gorgeous.
Lots going on in our community, but some other neat things, and in no particular order. Last night, we talked last week about the fire department being out at the Kin Park.
Yep.
And last night they were out at Lions Park. And so watch for your local park to be the next spot where our fire department, on a hot day like last night, comes out with their fire trucks. Certainly sprays a lot of kids, but certainly does an awful lot of fire conversation too, about fire safety in the homes and fire prevention. And our fire prevention people are there too. But thank you to Chief Gregory and all of the team at the fire department for going out and doing that with some of our young families and young kids in our community, and certainly hosing down some people with the fire truck is pretty fun too.
And right? And if you're a kid and that happens, I think it's one of those things you're going to remember.
You'll remember the fire truck coming to your local park. Right?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Right.
And we should also mention Colton Homewood from CIBC Wood Gundy, who wanted a shout out today. So Colton, here's your shout out.
Yeah.
And they're also doing the Run for the Cure, which we talked about as well.
Yes.
So find out the details about that, the CIBC Run for the Cure.
There's lots of, we got the torch run coming up next week or the week after too, the Special Olympics torch run, and more details on that as we get closer. I'm trying to take the next week or so off.
No.
Right?
Are you going to be able to do that?
That doesn't mean we won't do Mayor's Update, because we've done it before. When I've been up at the cottage, we can still do Mayor's Update.
Yeah.
And I'm still connected to what's going on in the community, so we'll be able to do it. What else have we got? We talked about the films, but movie night.
Yeah.
Movie night is back at Pinafore Park starting Friday night, and it's Paw Patrol, right? And this time of year, of course, you can't start showing a movie outdoors till at least 8:30. It's probably closer to quarter to 9.
And the drive-in doesn't go till 9:30.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, hey, you kids, get a nap in Friday, because if you're going out to watch Paw Patrol on Friday night, you've got to give all credit to the Icebox and what they're doing, certainly at all of the refreshment stands in all of our parks, but at Pinafore Park specifically, and they're putting on, they're co-sponsoring the movie night. So bring your blankets and your lawn chairs.
Yep.
That's what will make it best. And Paw Patrol is on Friday night, and I know there's a bunch more coming up. each Friday night thereafter, but we'll talk about them, I guess, one at a time. But thank you to the Icebox for what they've been working on.
And speaking of ice cream, there's a drowning prevention awareness night down at Shaw's this evening.
Yes,
and this is happening.
I've drowned in a bucket of ice cream.
I've tried to.
That's a bad thing. No, I've
I always eat it faster than I can actually drown.
Right. Can I have a boat of it? No.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. It's all part of today. This afternoon, they did the flag raising for drowning prevention. The warden, Ed Ketchabah, did that in Elgin County, and then tonight they're at Shaw's between 4:30 and 8:30, so they're still there. Head on over to Shaw's, and
we're going to go down. Jess and Lily and I are going to go down after the mayor's update and get some ice cream and learn a little bit about how to be safer on the water.
Perfect, excellent. We bought a life jacket for JoJo.
Very good.
For our dog. Because we found just recently she likes to swim, but we think she's got a little short, stubby legs. Yeah. So we've had to get her a life jacket, and she seems to like wearing it.
That's pretty cute.
She is a service dog, so she wears that vest a lot too.
Yeah.
All right.
We were talking about Tiny Hope, and there's a fundraiser for Tiny Hope tomorrow for lunch. And you're making burgers?
Well, I'm going to go down and probably talk and eat.
Okay. I wasn't sure they were going to enlist you into cooking.
I always give advice to people running barbecues, but 11 to 1:30 tomorrow at the Royal LePage at 808 Talbot Street. So downtown St. Thomas. Great barbecue. And I understand that I think there's ice cream there too. And I think that somebody else was there with us too, and I'm trying to think of who else is there. But anyways, it's a great time. Fundraiser for Tiny Hope. And that will tell us, we're still trying to move forward with Tiny Hope. I was quoted as saying, we're still all in, and the city still is all in and will be.
Yep.
We've got lots more to go. Now that this federal grant did not come through, but we think there's others we can apply for. We know there's others we can apply for and keep the Tiny Hope project going. So we'll keep working at that. Yeah,
and housing is one of those things, as we've talked about. It's very important to us as a community and Canada as a whole.
Yeah. Everywhere is trying to get a little caught up to where we are. I know you and I spoke that I was in Sarnia last Saturday speaking about housing in Indwell to Sarnia, who truly is a community about the size of St. Thomas or even bigger, but they have not yet started towards supportive housing, and here we are opening our second. So so they asked the mayor of St. Thomas to come down and talk. I met all sorts of people who I knew at that event, so it was great to be there with the folks from Indwell too. So
and you had a very long council meeting on Monday.
It may have been a record setting for Mayor Joe. I don't think we've ever gone past 9 o'clock before, and we did.
Well, I noticed you were trying to move things along, and some councilors were just right at the end. They're just getting under the wire to get their questions.
No, may I have another question?
Yeah. No, wait.
Yeah. But of course, we need to make sure we do the business of the city as well as we can. And in the summer, we only have one July meeting and one August meeting. And so that does tend to make our meetings a bit longer. We recognize Troy Rick as a great citizen of St. Thomas. We had
one of the greatest sports athletes in St. Thomas. And I think they said barring hockey.
He did not play as well at hockey as he did as other sports. But
he's got some pretty stiff competition to be the best at hockey in St. Thomas.
Yeah, a fellow named Joe someplace.
Nicknamed Jumbo Joe, I think is that.
And then we had Petrusia from the Immigration Partnership, a deputation, and then we had our normal council meeting. Then we had a public meeting about entertainment centers,
adult entertainment centers. Which I was like, adult entertainment centers. Like, what is coming to St. Thomas?
Well, there's somebody who would like to do an e-gaming center, right? And when he started to do it, our bylaw kind of prohibited them from doing it based on, we'd said in the past, a council before ours had said in the past, we can't have adult entertainment centers in St. Thomas. Now that's a different meaning. I think most people would understand that in the day, adult entertainment centers were adult entertainment centers. Right? We'll just leave it at that.
We're going to leave it,
But we wanted to make sure that we didn't exclude a gaming center like
for adults,
right? And even adults can go there, but it's more about gaming than it is about about adult entertainment bars. And so we passed that. We got that out of the way to clean that up. And that's kind of the role of our council. Every now and again, we run into a bylaw that does no longer fit. Right. Well, and we've all heard some of the jokes where it's still illegal to ride your horse down Talbot Street on Saturdays or something, right? And I think we've cleaned up most of those old bylaws. Some of them that had to do with snow shoveling are still there. But for the most part, it's our job to make sure that we're open for business in St. Thomas. And when someone comes to us with a great idea, we say, well, let's at least change the bylaw. You can go ahead as an entrepreneur and do what you wish.
One of my favorites is the arcade bylaws, because it used to be pinball machines were used for gambling through the mafia. So they were all outlawed in municipalities.
Well, and I think there was still something that said that, whether it was in the pool hall or that type of bylaw.
Yeah.
And I think Councillor Gibson mentioned that on Monday night.
Yes.
Well, does this mean we can have pinball?
Right.
Yes, if somebody wanted to now, it is, because it's more, we now allowing gaming. So the pinball would be there.
And this is before.
I guess if we caught you gambling on it, with all the gambling, I suppose there's still another bylaw.
There's some of a licensing board, group of Ontario. What is that? The
Ontario Gaming and Alcohol Commission.
Yeah. So they might get you in trouble for that.
Yeah. If they came and found you. But why don't we worry about doing the right things and the big things? And if we find it's somehow detrimental to our community, we'll go back and take another look. But I think we've now cleaned some of that up. So,
well, I think an electronic gaming place would be pretty cool.
Oh, I think it would be fun. I'd love to. I mean, I know some people who are really into gaming internationally.
And I hear the rents in St. Thomas are better than London, so you could easily draw the crowds down.
Easy. And I was just noticing today, there's still 2 or 3 neat sites where this could be. Right? What was the name of the bowling alley? Right beside Talbot, or
like the 5-pin one?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I think it might have been called like 5-pin bowling or something like that. Or 10
Anyway, that building's sitting there with a for rent sign on it. So what a great place for there. Or the old Baskin Fabrics building downtown. It's one of the largest pieces downtown. Hey, I'm not telling you where you can rent.
Right.
We're telling you there's some great spots.
There's some really nice locations.
Yeah.
Yep. And you guys had to do some hard work this week as well with the police service, the fire department, I'm assuming, was involved.
Well, we did a bit of an encampment removal at a piece of property along the Whistle Stop Trail. The difficulty we had is an encampment kind of got settled in there because it was not city property. And so we had some difficulty in being able to we had certainly sent our MOST team, our mental health support people, and our housing support people in to talk to the people that were there, but there was no, real way we could do much about it. But a couple of events occurred over the last couple of days that were far more criminal in nature, and so the police said, we've got to go. We said we got permission from the property owners, which was the province of Ontario, to go ahead and deal with it, because it was no longer an encampment issue. And we, as of late this afternoon, had spoken to everybody who had been involved or was living on the site, and there wasn't many, it was a handful, but we have a spot for each one of them to sleep tonight and store their goods, and most have said yes, and some will still continue to say no. But in our community, that's been the issue. We've been able to house people, and we've been able to house them in our emergency shelter or elsewhere through CMHA or others. So we're suggesting we don't need to have to set up the type of encampments we're seeing in other places. And so when we start to see criminal activity happening, we will really quickly move in. And of course, my understanding today was there's a fair amount of goods that weren't theirs that were on that site too. So where the police part of this is still ongoing, but I think all of the committees and groups, our housing people, our social people, our CMHA, the police, the fire, and our parks and rec people who help us with the cleaning up of properties like that. All hands on deck this morning, and I'm really pleased went well and went safely. The site that was that was being used as a bit of an encampment is also a fairly contaminated site, and where we're really truly worried about people's safety there also from a where you're sleeping point of view, along with what other criminal activity might be going on. So St. Thomas, keep us posted. Use customerservice.ca. Our customer service at ST.Thomas.ca to report if you're seeing any encampments or anything else you'd like to report to us. Many of the neighbors around there had been reporting to the police, and the police were a bit stymied about what they could do. This week we cleaned it all. We got together and were able to do all that we could do. So thank you all of the city employees, police and fire that were involved in it today.
Margaret Knight says Park and Bowl was the 5-pin
That's right.
bowling.
It was Park and Bowl.
Thank you, Margaret.
Yes, thank you, Margaret. It was not the. Was that the trivia question for tonight?
There we go. We'll put it on the
list.
list.
You. All right, Margaret, you're in. Yeah. Thank you.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll move on to some happier stories.
There's lots more things going on, but
here.
All of these things about making people safe in St. Thomas is also a good thing, but right, we want to report them. Tech Talk at our St. Thomas Public Library, right? Taking place Thursday, July 20th. So tomorrow between 3 and 4, it says on the upper level boardroom. This is for anybody, right, who has technical questions. How do I start my new laptop? How do I download this? Those types of questions that have to do with tech, right? Come on over. No question is bad at Tech Talk at the library. So come on over and get your support. One of the neat things they'll teach you how to download an ebook. Because you're at the library, right? I know you and I are both using this, right?
So much. What's your favorite book? I think is it Louis L'Amour, his books?
Well, I read a lot of John Grisham, that kind of criminal lawyer kind of stuff. Yeah. But Ted Barris, a great Canadian author and who comes to Southwold every year. Right. So I just recently went through the Battle of the Atlantic, which was a good 8 hours of listening. Right. So it's 2 trips to the cottage. Right. I just read a book. And now I'm on The Great Escape, another book that he's written that I have in paper, but I wanted to put it on in my car and do that too. So
I read it, I listened to it.
Yeah. So go, if nothing else, go learn how to download ebooks from our own library. What a great way to not, and you know what? You're never late returning it.
No, because it just goes back automatically.
That's right. After a period of time, it goes back into the system and you're not fined. And, I don't think we fine anybody for late books anymore.
And we still haven't found out whether you get fined if you don't return your free internet hotspot.
Yeah. Oh, no, because we talk about, have you tried it yet? Because I haven't gone over and tried it yet because I've got internet everywhere.
I know.
If I didn't, this would be really
spend more on internet, I think, than anything else.
Yeah.
Between like the studio and home.
Right. Well, we haven't had many questions tonight about St. Thomas. We got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of construction going on. We want to make sure.
One question came in, and it was about the lights that disappeared along the Whistle-Top Trail because
we think we found some of those today.
Really?
That's some of the stolen pieces.
Oh, no.
Right. But in talking to our Parks Department yesterday about that was a real test to put solar lights in on purpose, to put only solar-driven lights in there so that there was no copper to steal. They're not wired or anything, right?
Right.
And so if we got some of them back today, then they'll certainly go back up. But we've also we're trying to look for the most secure lighting system there. I think we all were thinking no one's going to get a ladder and climb up there and steal those
it's like
lights.
16, 17 feet in the air. So it's a pretty dedicated endeavor to get those.
Yeah. But we're finding right now there's a kind of a criminal element that, and I'll be the first to say it, and I know Chief Roskamp will agree with me, that aren't being at all caught by our courts, although the police are catching them. They're being kind of caught and released. We use the term catch and release. And so we're looking for a greater security level on some of that in our community too. So, but yes, it was a weird story to see the 18 poles that we put up with lights on it to cover the ravine there.
To provide safety for anyone traveling on the path.
Absolutely. Certainly. We walk that path a fair bit from our house too, right? And a lot of people do with their dogs, but at night, that's a very dark spot as you pass through that ravine. So anyway, we'll be repaired shortly and put back in service. And like the broken window syndrome piece that they used to talk about in New York.
Mm-hmm.
If it's broken, fix it. If it's graffiti, cover it. If it's something stolen, put it back. And we'll just continue as a community to make your community safe and whole each and every time. And hopefully, with all of the support of you at home and the support of our own police and service people, we'll slowly see an end to all of this. That's our plan. Right?
Margaret Knight saying Stephen King books.
Oh, yes.
Her husband's
favorite. I can't
favorite.
read. I've got to put the Stephen King book in the freezer. Was it Joey that did that in Friends? He couldn't read The Shining. He had to put The Shining away in the freezer because he couldn't read it. It was scaring him too much. But,
I can't read those ones. The other ones of Stephen King's, I can. They're amazing. But
I found at an early age that going to the library and taking books, or I'm old enough to remember a bookmobile coming to the neighborhood or to your school.
Oh, wow.
So you didn't even have to go to the library. You went out to the bookmobile.
Yeah.
But I guess I learned this from Mom and my older brothers and sisters. Reading was this really imaginative thing. You could could travel to places like Treasure Island or Huck Finn or those. You've got. And so I still do it. I like books that really don't have much to do with my job of
you
politics.
Get the escapism.
Oh, it really is. Let's really, and you get right in it. And sometimes you're reading a book or listening to a book and you don't want to stop. I honestly have gotten home from the cottage, listening to a book in the car the whole way home, but it's at a good part. So I'm going to go a couple of times around the block to finish listening to that part before I can say, okay, I can leave it there. And of course, it's a neat way. Like at night, you couldn't put the book down.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You had to keep flipping pages.
This is where I've got it. It connects it onto my phone, right? Through the library apps or Audible. And I've got my earbud. And I can just fall asleep listening to my storybooks.
Well, and my super hearing aids are also
wired
Bluetooth, and so I can put the book straight through them. I could do a council meeting and just be reading. No, I couldn't because I have to listen to what's going on. But it does help. Yes, absolutely.
So Blooms and Brews.
That's this Friday, I guess, July 21st, 4 to 10 at Wildflowers Farm. I always have trouble putting all those words together. It's about local brews and great food. So what a great place to be. And of course, we mention every week about our own market every Saturday morning. So that's also an event that's coming this weekend. The Young Entrepreneurs Initiative. Now, I know Al Krevitz from our SBEC, from our Small Business Enterprise Center, is really looking at this. But this is like 40 people under 40. It's about entrepreneurs under 40. It's young people starting their own businesses or wanting to start their own business. And this is a kind of a get together. Now, she has a large group that does this, but anybody else who doesn't already belong to that group, but also fits that bill. It's at Brandywine Garden Market, and it's 4 to 7 on August 24th. So it's coming up. We'll probably talk about it again coming forward. But if you're a young entrepreneur, or if you're any sort of entrepreneur, our Small Business Enterprise Center is phenomenal at helping you plan your business, find funding for your business, write your business plan, get you great advice. So please don't hesitate to call or email our Small Business Enterprise Center about this event or anything that has to do with small businesses. I've been taking this week, as they've been introducing new people in the summer companies piece, and then just sharing it. The mayor's got a few people on Facebook, so I just
one or two.
I just keep sending it off, saying, "Here's another young entrepreneur who's trying hard this summer. Let's get them some fame here in St. Thomas and let it work."
And when I first came back to St. Thomas, I tied into the SBEC Center. Best thing I could have done.
Oh yes,
the support was phenomenal. The grants they're able to provide you for a startup business.
Well, and as you know, I do as much mentoring as I possibly can. And so, sometimes there's a couple of that young photographer we've met twice now.
Yes.
Right. We met him at the Canada Day.
Yeah.
And then we met him at the great nostalgia nights that occurred last Saturday.
Yeah. Just fantastic.
But he's got great questions. And I said, you know what? Grayden's here. Talk to Grayden. Grayden will tell you far more about this. And I heard him to ask.
Yeah,
me
he
what
came
type
on
of
over.
camera,
We chatted,
right?
and the ISO and
Yep.
shutter speed,
Yeah.
all the things.
So it's great. Everybody will be your mentor. You just have to ask. I have not met a business person in this community, and I mean, I have not met a business person in this community that won't share with you how much they love their business and why they do it. And it's often not thought that way. Many people think, well, I can't go ask this auto body guy how successful he is in business because I'm going to be his competitor. No. We all care, and we all want to tell you the mistakes we made or the good things we did, and you can do them too. So it's something we look at
absolutely
as mentors. So
and council, what other things were happening in council? We talked about a couple of them.
Well,
we talk about Ross Street? No, that's it. Councillor Peters brought up, why is Ross Street north and south closed when there doesn't seem to be anything being done around there?
At this moment, there isn't. And we've asked our chief engineer. Our new chief engineer was also at the meeting. Kevin was there. And he said we'd look at it. The problem is there is construction on both sides of Ross Street, on the east side of the Ross Street intersection and the west side still coming over here. Towards Mondayman. This is still under construction. There probably is some servicing that still has to happen, but Kevin said if indeed we can open Ross Street and Flora to be north and south
for now,
so we can get through it and then close it when we actually have to close it. I think there's a section on Kane Street that this Friday is being closed because of the hookups for servicing for the Tiny Hope project, right? Boy, we've got a lot of construction going on. I drove down Sunset.
Oh my goodness. I just drove that today.
Well, I went and spoke at Central Elgin. So I was out at the county building and I went, wow, we're doing this work too. But that's the big work with the sidewalks and bike trails and everything along Sunset inside St. Thomas. No closure of that road this year, except maybe quickly temporary, but a lot of traffic cones. And, the other night I'm on Facebook and somebody says, well, look at this. It's really bumpy out here. First of all, it had rained about 2 inches. And, of course, on the gravel side, it had caused some bumps. How come we didn't know? I went, those great big orange things? They're traffic barrels, right?
Yeah, some people find a way to ignore those. I've seen in the news over the past couple months.
Maybe the road's under construction if we put about 500 of them out and block lanes apart. So, look, and I know I'm being a bit sarcastic, but look, when you see a big traffic barrel or 100 of them in a row, you probably should slow down. You're in a construction zone and pick your way clearly, see what you're doing, and make sure that you're not going greater than the speed necessary in a construction zone. But lots going on in St. Thomas. I was on Wilson Ave yesterday, and they're taking off the top layer of pavement to do some work on Wilson. So,
oh, boy.
Well, great. It's that time of year here in St. Thomas. And we're we certainly have been over the last 5 years, adding more than 500,000 more to our asset recovery base to make more road projects happen. But we get our money's worth by starting early like we did on Talbot Street or starting early like we did on Sunset. So we'll continue to do that. So.
And Adam Montgomery's asking whether or not Ross Street has any plans to go under construction.
Well, the piece of Ross Street by Wellington was done just 2 years ago. It's in really good shape. I think that as Ross Street and Talbot Street pass, there'll be some more done at that intersection too. I think you're probably right, Adam. I know Flora was also, this piece of Ross Street was torn up as there's a new apartment building going in there between Arthur Voden and the Talbot Street built streetscape. So I think there'll have to be some more work to the surface at Talbot and Flora to be done. Yes.
Very good. And he's saying he doesn't miss the train bridge on Ross.
Oh, remember how that used to fill up with water every time we got one of the rains like we've had a couple of this year, right? But it is a much smoother place now, isn't it?
It's crazy to think that happened.
Yeah.
And now it's totally
and maybe I should mention that there's 2 or 3 train overpasses still in the east end of St. Thomas, the one by Burwell and Talbot and further out. And they're really of no use anymore. There isn't trains running under them. And lots of people have asked the mayor, well, why don't we just take those down? because they're not easy to do. And while they're still sound, we'll leave them up.
Yeah.
But they were very costly to take that much pavement, that much dirt out of there, that from what was an old overpass. So it's in our plans. We need to do it, but yeah.
And I'm just going to give another shout out to the mega site plans and the videos.
Please do sign up for this. Right? You want to get these as they come out. And I was quite shocked this week that 2 came out, because I got to watch them both already.
It's because we want to get them out for public discourse, so you can take a look and you can have these conversations until early August.
And please watch them each week and come on Mayor's Update, and we'll discuss whatever new is happening that week. And I was just sharing that I was out to Central Elgin's council on Monday also. Didn't have a long enough meeting myself later.
Well, of course not.
But I was there at their 1:00 in the afternoon meeting to share with them just whatever communication we can about the mega project, how we're moving forward, what the roads, and if you watch the videos, you'll learn more about what's happening with roads, but really just to share communications. So we'll continue to do it, and we'd love to talk it on here.
And one quick final question from Margaret is, she's saying she's had people asking her, saying, why not finish one construction before starting a new one?
And that's pretty much what we did do, right? The first construction was Mary Street to Mondamon, the street in front of City Hall. Now, we did a little bit across the Mondamon intersection and got started on this piece, right? So we did finish at Mondamon, from Mary to Mondamon, and it's open. Some trees to be planted, the odd light standard to go up still, but it's now open to the public. So that's what we do try to do. But whenever you're dealing with underground sewers, waters, and power, you got to make sure that you can still carry on what you've started on one block over to the next. And that's my worry with the Ross Street intersection. Some of what we're doing in the underground will have to cross the Ross Street intersection, even though it appears right now it's not dug up. Right. It isn't, right? But it may have to be. So we'll wait for Kevin's report back.
Very good. And one final comment from Adam Montgomery saying, Mayor Joe, at your bacon call will be at Seed Confections this Saturday. Make sure to stop in and check out the delicious treats mid-morning to mid-afternoon.
Oh, I saw that, and I had it written down on my list, and I skipped over it, right?
Yeah.
Lot of people, or Seed Confection is now allowing other people to use their building as kind of a pop-up, but then I saw they're moving on to another step, maybe using it as a commercial kitchen too for other people. So thank you to Seed Confections and in this step of their life. But that bacon call would be incredible to be there Saturday. So hit the market, and then head over there, because they're going to have some treats like you wouldn't believe.
Don't eat a big breakfast.
Well, for the rest of the week, because you can take it home with you. Right? Yeah.
Well, as always, everybody, if you have anything, let us know so we can talk about it in the next week. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to our sponsors. Mayor Joe, thank you.
Yeah, great to be here, Grayden, and thanks for all the great stuff you're doing at keeping us connected. So let's keep it up and keep sharing all the great news of St. Thomas.
Cheers. See you all next week.
See you next week.